Welcome to the deep dive. I'm really thrilled you are joining us today because we are unpacking an incredibly insightful stack of notes.
Yeah, it's a fantastic stack this week.
It really is. We are looking at AI field notes, specifically edition '07 from March 2026. And, if you follow this space, you've probably heard the endless debates about AI helping corporate workers code faster or um, write better marketing emails.
Right, the usual commercial productivity stuff.
Exactly. But today's sources reveal a massive, and I mean massive, billion-dollar pivot away from that.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the context here is critical.
Oh, absolutely.
For the last few years, the focus has entirely been on commercial enterprise. But the profound shift we are looking at today is about applying frontier AI to complex public systems.
Not just software engineers, then.
No, not at all. It's aimed directly at the frontline workers who literally hold our society together.
Which is such a sharp contrast to the usual narrative and the sheer scale of the investment. That's what really caught my eye.
The numbers are staggering.
They are. The sources detail a new coalition called NextLadder Ventures. And this isn't, your standard Silicon Valley seed round.
Definitely not.
We are talking about heavy hitters. The Gates Foundation, the Blommer Group, the Valhalla Foundation. They are putting up $1 billion.
And the timeline is just as important as the money. It's $1 billion deployed over 15 years.
Over 15 years, which is unheard of in standard tech investing.
Exactly. Venture capital usually wants a return in 3 to 5 years. But when you are building tools for public defenders, social workers, parole officers,
Housing navigators.
right, housing navigators, when you are targeting those professionals, you are dealing with the most complex, entrenched challenges in our society. You can't fix that in a 3-year sprint.
What's fascinating here is the shift in how the problem itself is being framed.
That is the core of it. If you actually shadow a public defender or a social worker, you realize very quickly that the worker is not the bottleneck.
No, they are highly trained. They care deeply about what they do.
Precisely. The bottleneck is the incredibly fragmented, aging administrative system surrounding them. It's the PDFs, the conflicting guidelines, the handwritten intake forms.
The sheer friction of the bureaucracy.
Yes. So the NextLadder initiative isn't trying to replace these human workers. It's partnering with Anthropic, the makers of the Claude models, to absorb all that dense administrative friction.
Because Claude is so good at parsing massive amounts of unstructured text.
Exactly. But this raises a really deep point about why this matters. In these high-trust professions, replacing people is completely the wrong goal.
Right. Efficiency shouldn't just mean giving a public defender 15 more cases.
No, the true value of AI here is restoring time. If the AI can read and synthesize a 400-page case file in seconds, you are giving that worker their time back. Time for actual human judgment.
Time to actually talk to their client.
Exactly. Time for conversation and relationship building, which is the actual job.
That makes total sense. But it does make me wonder, if this tech is so necessary, why are private philanthropists having to fund it? Why isn't the government just buying this stuff?
That is a critical insight from the sources. There is a massive funding gap here. Traditional public funding systems just inherently struggle to support experimental tech.
Because it's a risk.
Right. Government procurement is slow, it requires rigid deliverables, and politically, it severely penalizes failure. A state agency cannot take a $50 million gamble on a prototype that might hallucinate.
It would be a huge scandal.
So philanthropy steps in as risk capital. They absorb those early failures, fund the pilots, and essentially build a future infrastructure of public service before governments ever have to adopt it at scale.
Which is amazing, and the notes actually give us rapid-fire data to prove this isn't just theory, this is happening right now.
The results they tracked are phenomenal.
Yeah, let's look at Blackbaud. They provide software for nonprofits, and they integrated AI into their Razor's Edge NXT platform. Nonprofits using these AI tools are raising 44% more than their peers.
44%.
44%, plus a 25% increase in grant funding, and they are hitting 96% employee engagement. It basically elevates AI from a nice little bonus feature to a competitive necessity.
It does, but for smaller agencies, adopting that tech is still really daunting.
Completely. Which brings us to the AI Learning and Innovation Hub. The sources highlight this testing ground, supported by a $6 million grant from the GitLab Foundation.
And the most important thing they are building there is a shared prompt library and a peer network.
So people don't have to start from scratch.
Exactly. A public agency in Ohio doesn't have to figure out how to safely prompt an AI to summarize a sensitive file. They can just use the rigorously tested prompt that a department in California already perfected.
That is such a smart way to scale this stuff safely. And it's not just adults learning this. Carnegie Mellon and AEDU are running an AI fluency pilot project in Pennsylvania right now.
Yes, and the demographic they're targeting is key.
They are teaching AI literacy to elementary students, grades 1 through 5.
They are treating it as a foundational skill.
Yeah.
For those kids, AI isn't going to be a new tool. It's just the invisible architecture of their world.
It's like teaching them to read or do basic math. You have to start young, which actually transitions us perfectly into the next spotlight section of the notes, focusing right on the classroom.
This is one of the most compelling examples in the entire report.
It really is. I want you to imagine a scenario for a second. Imagine a teacher in a classroom.
Okay.
And a student who is usually super enthusiastic suddenly goes completely quiet, or they just flat out refuse to take a test. The teacher cares deeply, but they have to respond instantly.
And they have 25 other kids to watch.
Right. And they almost certainly don't have immediate access to a school psychologist in that exact moment. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yes, the Children's Health Council.
Exactly, CHC.
They have 70 years of deep clinical and educational expertise. They understand learning differences, trauma, anxiety, everything that might be happening with that student.
But historically, where was all that knowledge?
Trapped in research papers or distant clinical consultations that happen weeks after the actual incident.
Right. Enter Ellis. This is CHC's new AI tool, and it allows the educator to describe that exact classroom challenge in plain, everyday language.
They don't need to know the clinical terms.
Exactly. They just type what's happening, and Ellis instantly provides evidence-based strategies to de-escalate the stress or help the student focus. Right there in the moment.
But the sources are very careful to emphasize the crucial safeguards here. Ellis does not diagnose conditions.
That's a huge point.
It doesn't pull from generic internet searches either. It relies entirely on CHC's proprietary expertise. And most importantly, it keeps human expertise central.
The teacher is still the one making the call.
Always. The ultimate judgment, the delivery, the empathy, that is entirely up to the teacher. Ellis is just an advisor.
So what does this all mean? The concluding piece in these field notes really drives this home, and it actually changes the entire vocabulary we use.
It's a brilliant epiphany. The author argues that we shouldn't even be calling it artificial intelligence.
Yes.
When we look at these high-trust, frontline professions, the intelligence isn't artificial at all. It's human. We should be reframing it as accessible intelligence.
Accessible intelligence. I love that so much. And the text uses these incredible specific metaphors. They say a teacher doesn't need a machine to care about a student.
They already have the empathy.
Right. What they need is 70 years of child psychology available at exactly 10.42 on a Tuesday morning.
And it's the same for a second-year social worker. They don't need an algorithm to automate their job. They need the pattern recognition that normally takes a human a full decade to build up.
Exactly. It's just accelerating their access to experience.
If you synthesize all of this, the core realization is that the hardest problems in our society aren't hard because we lack the answers. The answers exist.
In filing cabinets.
In filing cabinets, in unread reports, in the heads of seasoned veteran colleagues who've been doing this for 30 years. AI is simply the infrastructure that allows that hard-won expertise to travel instantly to the moment it's needed.
It's just a delivery mechanism for human wisdom. So to wrap this up for you listening, AI in the public sector isn't about machines being smarter than us. It's about ensuring that our frontline heroes aren't starting from scratch every single time they face a complex human problem.
This raises an important question, though. A final thought for everyone to mull over.
Yeah, lay it on us.
If the true superpower of AI is unlocking and distributing specialized knowledge exactly when it's needed, what accumulated, hidden expertise in your own workplace, your industry, or even your life is currently trapped in a filing cabinet or a veteran's head, just waiting to be made instantly accessible?
Wow. That is the perfect question to leave things on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep asking those big questions, and we will catch you next time.